Marhaba, good evening everybody. As we know that our discussion is on Indian Muslim political representation, role of Muslims in politics and in different fields of in India. So first I would like to mention that our Indian constitutions have given different rights for everybody, especially uh, the minorities. This is the basic fundamental rights, seven fundamental rights of that is mentioned in Indian constitutions. The right to equality, the right to freedom, right to against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to property, and right to constitutional remedies. So, after these seven fundamental rights, our constitutions have mentioned some of different articles, like Article 29. The Constitution states that protection of interest for minorities, like rights of minority to establish educational institutions. Article 30 itself gives the linguistic or religious minorities the following two rights. One, the right to establish and the right to administer educational institutions of their own choice. The person belonging to the minorities have the right to enjoy their own culture, to profess and practice their own religion, and to use their own language in private and in public, freely and without any interference or any form of discriminations. And another one, Article 38, the state to secure a social order for promotion of welfare of the people. In this Article 38, there is a clause 1 that state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting us effectively as it may a social order in which justice, social, economic, and political shall inform all the institutions of the national life. Okay, so after this, I have to discuss about Indian constitutions has given so much room for the Muslim minority to live according their own religion, their custom, and their traditions. But of course, in India, we face many underrepresentations. Before coming to into these details, we have to mention that in India we have two time period. One, Indian subcontinent. Second one, the modern Indian after the independence from British imperialism. In Indian subcontinent, the Muslim scholars, they were actively engaging the political sphere of Indian subcontinent. The Muslim scholars, different Muslim movements, they have participated they have participated in the Khilafat movement against British imperialism. That starting from 1920s. In 1919, in Mumbai, Khilafat movement was established. For the sake of Khilafah, we know the history. But after that, in southern, all over the India, especially the southern part of Indian subcontinent, like the state of my own state, Kerala, we Muslims, we organized huge movements for Khilafat movement with the leadership of Muslim scholars and political leaders. Even some of them they have connected with the Sufi silsila like Chishti, Qadi. That is so interesting historical moment. But these scholars, they defended the region, the Muslim, especially the Muslim, predominantly Muslim region known as Malabar region, the northern part of Kerala, state of India, Indian subcontinent. They have protected that area. They fought against British imperialism for at least for 6 months. These Muslim leaders, they could form a government with the name of Malayala Rajam, means the state of Malayalam. Malayalam is a vernacular language of Kerala for the southern part of Indian state, Kerala. So they have even formed a government against British imperialism in the name of Khilafat movement. And we have many different political leaders, intellectual ideologues like Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan, after that Abul Kalam Azad, Maulana Maududi, Shibli, Naumani. There are many scholars who led Muslims, even they have different political framework. They led Muslims for the sake of Muslim community. So I have to mention this idea, yeah, before forming the the modern India in 1947. That's happened after the liberating from British imperialism. After that, the division has happened, and the Pakistan emerged, and India also emerged. They came into the floors, and after that, Muslims, they felt through the decades the underrepresentations. Like now, I am mentioning the Ahmad Adnan Farouqi's article, a political representation of minority, Muslim representation in contemporary India. Putting these historical moment of Muslims, which they have hugely participated, engaged in the political scenario of Indian subcontinent. After the emergence of modern India, the Muslims, they had to face frequently the underrepresentation from the political scenario, from the mainstream political parties, and even from the secular and liberal parties also in India, the modern India. Now I'm mentioning that paragraph from his article that the consistent Muslim underrepresentation in political arena is due to the combination of historical, institutional factors and spatial reasons. The historical legacy of partitions, the choice of electoral system, the spatial distribution of the Muslims have all contributed towards the political underrepresentation of Muslims. However, in the past, their inability to address the issues of political underrepresentations did not prevent the political parties from articulating and representing the concern of Muslim community in the political arena, or even trying from addressing the issues of underrepresentations through the informal mechanism. The fact that today is the only viable to have Muslim candidates to get elected from Muslim dominated constituencies is a sign of political ghettoization of the Muslim community, because other political parties, they are, there is a majoritarian idea is a has been spread across the Indian state. Now the all secular parties, all mainstream parties, they are afraid of to have a Muslim candidate by their own name. This is why I'm saying that if there is a place they have a predominantly Muslim region, then the candidate will be Muslim. Otherwise, the parties, the mainstream party, the secular parties, so-called secular parties, are afraid of to have a Muslim candidate for their own. This reluctance of mainstream political parties to provide an avenue for political articulation have made the community gravitate toward a new type of leadership, which is assertive and articulative. This is a situation, the political parties, the mainstream Indian parties, they did not give, or they are not ready to give the space for Muslim candidates to have to participate in electoral politics. So the many more political parties, they have emerged because of they started to think that we must have our own political identity. We must assert ourselves into the political realm of India. And another important part, the Indian Muslim is underrepresented now, and they are underrepresented in the cabinet as officer bearers in the polity-wide parties, the key political officers. Though the Muslims have remained underrepresented throughout, it has deteriorated further since 1990s, coinciding with the rise of BJP. BJP is the ruling party of India, Bharatiya Janata Party. It's a right-wing nationalist. We can call them as a fascist movement also, because it has emerged from a Sangha Parivar, RSS, Rashtriya Swayam Seva Sangh. It is just like a Nazi movement or fascist movement of Italy. So this movement, the right-wing nationalist movement, after the rise of this BJP, the Muslims, especially from this area in India, they have to feel the underrepresentation in different fields of Indian administration and Indian political, socio-political scenarios. Muslim political underrepresentation by itself may not necessarily be linked to the majoritarianism. Muslims have been constantly underrepresented in the legislative arena, even in the past, not now, even in the past also. However, what is distinction is a decidedly majoritarian understanding of democracy in the contemporary India. The growing strength of Hindu nationalist BJP and its extremist appeal of Hindu votes have made Muslims expendable to the electoral calculation of even the traditional claimants of Muslim votes. The reluctance of these parties to articulate and raise issues important to the Muslim community stems from fear of majoritarian backlash. As I mentioned before, major mainstream political parties, they are not ready to accept the presence of Muslim minorities, and to have their own candidates, to give the chance to win in the electoral politics. Hence, the success of BJP lies in the making of issues invincible from the mainstream political discourse. I mean, the coming of BJP in the political process of India, and after that, under their consistent success in the electoral politics in different states of India, it make more problems for Muslims, like invincible from the mainstream political discourse of India. This is I'm quoting from another work like Word It, Pranab Roy and Dorab Sopriwala. He said that this division has in historically three phases. One that starting from 1952 to 1977. The second phase was from 1977 to 2002, and the third that is just begun after 2002 to at the present. He says that in all these phases, Muslims have been consistently underrepresented in the parliament. Their representation hovered all over the 25 to 30 members of parliament. This translates to the 5 to 6% of lower house of parliament for a community that accounts for about 14% of population. It means Islam or Muslim is the second largest minority in India. We have 14 to 15 population all over the India. But still, our Muslims representations in decision-making houses of India so actually decreased day by day. And the more recently, the political space occupied Muslims has shrunk even more. This can be linked to the strong communalization of politics since the late 80s and 90s. The rise of BJP and its politics as a counter to the Mandal movement means, there are different movements that to strengthen the minorities and backward communities of India. That this the Mandal movement is one of them, and aggravate their marginalization. I mean, there are many riots happen in India. Like, we know that the Babur built, the emperor of Mughal dynasty, Babur built Babri Masjid. And these RSS guys, they destroyed Babri Masjid in 1992. And was the time. And that the destruction of Babri Masjid actually just was a symbol of destruction of Indian democracy in the public sphere. Up to that time, the failures of democracy, or failure of the secularism, or the weakness of the applying Indian constitution among the public was it was not like transparent. But after the destruction of Babri Masjid, it became so transparent. The reluctance, and another point is that the reluctance of political parties to offer tickets to Muslim candidates, as I mentioned before, cuts across all regional and national parties to one of the biggest factors behind this underrepresentation. In India, we have different political parties. Inshallah, I will mention after some time the different political parties, especially the Muslim parties. We have regional and national parties like Congress, CPM, CPI, the two communist parties, and the biggest party, the Congress party, and different parties also, and regional parties like regional parties means sometimes it's become ethnical parties, sometimes it's different communities parties, like caste parties in India, that is everywhere in India. So these parties and between 1950 to 1977, when Muslims accounted for 10% of the population, only 4% of all candidates nominated by the mainstream regional or national parties were Muslim. This trend continued on, and fewer tickets to Muslim candidates than their numbers warranted meant that the number of Muslim candidates grew only at a snail's pace. It was so slowly. And the non-BJP parties also contributed to the invincibilization of Muslims in electoral politics. As I said before, BJP was the one of the biggest reasons, and other political parties also, like different political party, they want to keep the Hindu vote, the majority vote, in their pocket. So what they did that they wanted to withdraw from the Muslim presence in their political parties. They wanted to cut Muslims. They directly they want Muslim votes, but they don't want to give Muslims for the participation in the electoral politics. That is also became another reason for the invincibilization of Muslims in political parties. And this Hindu majoritarianism is directly linked to the shrinking pace of Muslims in Indian political arena. While the first past for the post system that India inherited from the British Raj only makes things worse, you know. And these are mentioning another important factor from a work that political scientist Christopher Jeffrey Lord makes an interesting observation in his book that Majoritarian State, How Hindu Nationalism is Changing India. He writes that each time the BJP, the ruling party, conquers a new states of India, the number of Muslim MLAs drops. The most spectacular example is found in UP. UP means Uttar Pradesh. This is the biggest, one of the biggest state in India. In Uttar Pradesh, where in 2017 the proportion went from 17 to 6%, while the figure of 70% achieved in 2012, mainly thanks to the success of SP. SP is another regional party, the Samajwadi Party, had brought the share of Muslim MLAs closer to the share of population in UP. The figure of 6% associated with the BJP's landslide victory reflects an underrepresentation compared to the 1991. Now I am mentioning that another discussion about our issue. This is I have taken from one of the popular author Hilal Ahmad, and his work is Siyasi Muslims: A Story of Political Islam in India. He mentioned that what are the problems of Muslim in India. He says that three Muslim images is in India, are in India, like a radical Muslim image or a jihadi community which cannot live with others peacefully. That is one image. Another one is secular Muslim image of a peace-loving nationalist community which opposes jihadi Islam and alienated Muslim community. Means this one, they feel themselves as secularist. They don't have any kind of commitment or relation with the Muslim community. The third one, reluctant to take part in the national mainstream. This is the group dominated our public discourses in the interesting manner. So these are three images in India. Now after that, I have to mention that the Muslim main Muslim parties in India, like one Indian Union Muslim League. Indian Muslim Union League, actually it has a connection with the Pakistan, especially Muhammad Ali Jinnah. After the division, they have changed their political ideology. They became like a socialist party, but they have non-Muslims too in their political system. It's not only the Muslims party, they are non-Muslims also. They just now like a socialist party, and this Indian Union Muslim League are so strong, powerful, especially in Kerala, my own state, the southern part of India, and the Tamil Nadu. And now just before 1 week, one of my students, Fatima Muzaffar, she won by the ticket of Indian Muslim League in Tamil Nadu as a councillor. That was the historical moment in the history of Muslims representation in Tamil Nadu. This the neighboring state of Kerala. And another the party, the All India United Democratic Front. It is led by Badruddin Ajbal, one of a scholar and a businessman. The party is situated in Assam, the northeast part of India. And of course, this party has different MLAs and MPs by their own. It's a biggest party, but it's a regional party, and it has alliance with the Congress, International Congress, in national level. And this is another word, the Peace Party, and another one, Ulama Council and Qaumi Ekta Dal. And this is the Tamil, means the regional party of Tamil Nadu, like Manikudaya Makti Kachi, and This is one, the Majlis Ittihad al Muslimin (IAM). It is the one. It is one the is being biggest political party across India. Actually, this Majlis Ittihad al Muslimin was a regional party in Andhra Pradesh, the southern state of India. But now this party, by the leadership of Asaduddin Uwaisi, he expanding his political power across the Indian region, especially the Kolkata, UP, and different northern part of India. And Awami Vikas Party, this is another small party, regional party, and this one Welfare Party of India. Welfare Party of India has some kind of backup with the Jamaat-e-Islami, the Islamic movement of in India, founded by Maulana Maududi, and they have initiated this political party, and this welfare party have like ideas like the welfare system. Somehow it has inspired by the welfare party of Turkey of Najibuddin Erbakan. So they have some kind of connection ideologically. They want to have a welfare state in India. And this another one, Social Democratic Party of India (SDPI). This is formed by the another Muslim movement, as the Popular Front of India. It is another Muslim movement. They are the mother movement of the Social Democratic Party of India. All these parties, they advocate for democracy, the correct democratic process in India, because we know that the democracy in India is a part of majoritarian democracy, and whoever won the election, they have all the rights. Now the BJP won the election, and in Indian societies, they won the election by the alliance, and now their ultra nationalist party is ruling in India. So that is the problem of India, and all these parties also, they advocate for democratic process, the true right democracy process by the power of Indian constitutions. And another party, the Peace Party, and another one, Rashtriya Ulama Council. These are the small parties. Now I have to mention another discussion, that the Muslim question in India is not articulated in terms of demands of equity. Actually, what is happening in India, instead of the political leadership of camouflages real issues of backwardness, prejudice, and social exclusions with the rhetoric of identity and security. That is happening in India. This is another work like Abdul Shaban. He says that Indian Muslims have emerged as a mass around which is politics of vote bank. Indian Muslims are vote bank for the mainstream political parties, and appeasement. Now what is happening in the Ramadan, the month of Ramadan. The old political parties, they organize these iftar programs. Even BJPs too. Even different secular communist parties, especially they organizing iftar programs to appease Muslim community or to attract Muslim community to their political system. And another important the image of Muslims, that is, one is vote bank. Muslims are as vote bank, and Muslims appeasement, and Muslims here as foreigners. Here we have two categories as a foreigner, the term foreigner. In North India, the right-wing nationalists, they say to Muslims, you have to go to Pakistan. In Northeast, the northeast part of India, they say to Muslims, go to Bangladesh. It means the Muslims are foreigner. Muslims are invaders, and Muslims now are foreigners. You have to go to your own places. Like this, Pakistan is within the country. Means you are a Paki. You are Pakistani, not an Indian. And so on are innovated and played on, making them further apprehensive about asserting their legitimate right to development. All these issues actually forced Muslims to have their own political assertion. This is another discussion. Yes. Okay. Now I have to mention the last point, that Muslims here have some kind of burdens. One, burden of protecting secularism. Nobody, all these right-wing groups, they could attack Muslims, but Muslims have to protect secularism. Second one, Muslims have to keep the socio-political religious situations in peace. Muslims have to have the position to the communal harmony. Muslims have to bear all kind of atrocities. Oh, okay. So the scholars or intellectuals mention what can Muslim do. This is the suggestion to that discussion. Umar Khalidi, one of the leading writer, he says that Muslims can join to the parties sympathetic to them with a secular orientation. They can work as a pressure group with a non-partisan poster as party affiliation. They can set up their own political party and try to be a part of coalition government. And other some views, Muslims believe themselves we have to strengthen the rule of law, and we have to create the alliance with the secular political parties against the fascist movements. We have to create alliance with the Dalits, the backward communities, and other religious minorities. That is the main thinking of Muslims in India, especially in their political representation discourses. Thank you.